My name is Palmer. I'm 22 years old and from the Midwest of America. Speaking to you like this is kind of funny, but we're about to go on an adventure to the Amazon rainforest, so maybe I should tell you some things before we leave. We will be traveling with university students from Brazil and from America. The program introduces students to the Kayapó, one of the indigenous peoples of Brazil, as well as tropical ecology and the urbanization and development of Amazonia. Going into it, I had no idea how this would change my life, but it did, and I find myself unable to describe my experience to anyone. You should know this is all from my perspective. I chose what to film and what to edit, so you have to trust me that I'll represent this journey as best I can. In my experience, trust is more easily earned between good people. So we're already starting on the right foot. Speaking of which, I hope you brought bug spray. So finish your coffee and eat your bread. Pull up your socks and fill up your water bottle. In the words of the Kayapó, let's go. After meeting up in Miami, most of our team traveled together on our way to Brazil. Though we began as strangers, this was also the beginning of many friendships. For example, nobody could speak or read Portuguese, so we had to be creative and proactive to get through connecting flights. We also discovered that rainforest camping gear is great for overnight stays in airports. By the time we reached Marabá, we were already operating as a team. We packed into the bus with our luggage overflowing in the aisle and got comfortable. After all, we had a long drive ahead of us, heading southwest to the town of Tucumã. At some point on the drive, it began to rain, and I didn't think anything of it. But when an instructor compared it to my climate back home, they said it would be like snowing in August. Halfway into our trip, the highway basically disintegrates. And though I think it could have been worse, it was definitely a bumpy ride. A plane to a bus to another plane, we were now officially headed into the Amazon rainforest. When we came upon our destination, you could see the landing strip, the soccer field, and the village of Alcre below. We landed without issue and were greeted warmly every step to the river.
We're going to spend half of our time in the village of Ayucra with the Kayapó people, and the other half of the group is going to go first to the Pincati Research Center, which is a little bit down the river, like 2 hours boat ride down the river.
I'm interested in human ecology and in wildlife management by native communities like the Kayapó. And now we are going to Pincati Field Station, which is a research station.
A station that, as Juca told me, has provided researchers a base from which to explore the Amazon.
What is it?
It's some kind of vulture. I don't know what kind. Actually, the last trip we saw a king vulture, and they're really cool. You look through that hole there, and you can see the far tree, the high one.
Oh, yeah.
There's a black thing sitting there.
One day after arriving, we began our own exploration on the first of many hikes.
This is likely armadillo digging for termites in that termite mound. See the big hole in it? armadillo would have dug in there to eat termites.
A small group of Kayapó guided us through the bush, passing old markers placed by illegal loggers, until we arrived at the Brazil nut grove.
They open the pod out in the forest,
And then they just put the nuts in
and
the
then they put the
casing.
nuts in the socks,
And then how do they open
and then
the
they
nuts?
carry the socks back down to the river where
The
they
Brazil
put them in
nut tree
boats.
is very tall and can only grow in primary forest. The Brazil nut market is strong, it fits Kayapó culture, the trees are only found in these forests, and the seeds are spread when the nuts are harvested, making the process completely sustainable. You'll find out sustainability is a reoccurring theme, like when we sustain our bodies with fish from the river. Even the Kayapó elder of our group told a story of how his father ensured his own sustainability.
So we are on our way to the waterfall, and we've been hiking for about an hour. I went through a giant kind of like tick nest. I had them all over me. Really, really, really small, like the size of like a pinhead, not even a pinhead. And we're resting right now by the river. We're gonna have a snack, and then we're gonna keep on going. We're here at the waterfall campsite area, and we haven't actually seen the waterfall yet. The second half of the hike was a little more like up and down. A little while it was really cool. We were like walking along the river cliff area, but yeah, we're all tired and it's hot.
We fixed that problem by taking a jump.
The Kayapó, they went to the river and they fished this medium-sized fish, and they basically chopped it in half and threw it directly on the fire. And it was really good because as it was cooking, it kind of grilled and it had like a light crust over it. And then we just put it on banana leaves, and the texture of this fish is just like soft and tender, and probably one of the best things I've ever eaten.
It's a very, very good experience for everybody because it combines wildlife ecology with an understanding and appreciation for the native peoples. And it's a very good primer for what's going on in the Amazonian rainforest, and gives the students an idea of what's needed to help preserve it for future generations. Hopefully the students will bring this message back with them that they can help to preserve this and help to be environmentalists wherever they are in North America or South America or Europe, Africa, or anywhere.
Gosto da Rosa, gosto da Helena, da Filomena do meu coração, e da Teresa porque tem beleza, morro de amor, espera Conceição.
Não, me torno batendo me cotonha na minha pronto.
Gosto da Rosa, gosto da Helena, da Filomena do meu coração, e da Teresa porque tem beleza, morro de amor, espera Conceição. Eu tenho mesmo coração sensível, não posso ver mulher por me chorar. Eu sei que todas choram por desprezo, e eu amo a cidade, quero aproveitar. Eu sei que faço pra mudar de vida, e já me posso me dominar. Esse gol azul nunca me chamou, e eu vou por ela, não posso ficar. Eu sei que faço pra mudar de vida, estou sofrendo de palpitação. E se eu for nessa de ficar com todas elas, vou cair nas barreiras e vou sofrer do coração. Gosto da Rosa, gosto da Helena, da Filomena do meu coração, e da Teresa porque tem beleza, morro de amor, espera Conceição.
The fun took a pause with yet another enigmatic storm, reminding us all that the planet depends on people like the Kayapó to take care of her.
What's kind of continues to be amazing about the Kayapó is that they've created indigenous NGOs, they've organized within their territory, and they continue to fight to maintain these lands, which are not only their homelands, but one of the last remaining largest tracts of kind of Amazonian forest anywhere in the world. And this forest, it just remains this big island of biodiversity and cultural diversity that we should all consider preserving for the future.
Only visitors permitted by the Kayapó and the Brazilian government can visit this pristine location.
To be here in Kayapó indigenous land, which is part of the most conserved block of rainforest in the Amazon and in the world, it's such a privilege that it was really a dream to me for more than 10 years to be here. So I'm really grateful to them, and this is really a fantastic opportunity to be here with the Kayapó and to walk with them in the forests and to talk with them and to learn about their culture in general, but especially in their knowledge about the forests and most especially about the animals.
We are at the mud pit right now, and this is where the animals come and they lick the mud, and we don't know why.
It's a great place for hunting. We were not able to see any animals because we make too much noise.
I hear buzzing, like there's bees or butterflies or some other kind of bugs, like really close or right by your head. I don't really know what it smells like. Almost like, I don't know, like fresh. I was thinking like some kind of like tea you would make, but that's just the plant smell. Leaf. Leaf. Kayapó?
Peel.
Peel?
Peel.
So we just spent several days in a magical forest, where we discovered more questions than answers. But surely we will have time to contemplate everything as soon as we reach the village.
Meikum.
Instead of contemplation, we got put to work. Remember the theme of sustainability? Well, this Kayapó woman brought us along with her granddaughters to show us how it's done. It was hot work that cooled off with a splash.
So he's not only welcoming us here, as students and people studying here, but people who can help him and help the Kayapó to protect this beautiful land. Again, Chief Crute is saying if you could please remember him and remember the Kayapó and remember this beautiful land when you go back to the places that you've come from, and he hopes you will come back and visit again But please, when you go away to these places far away, remember them with your time and your contacts and your money and your resources, because they are fighting to defend this land and to defend all the beauty and things that you see here in the rainforest.
The village was active every day, so we got to experience a day in the life of a Kayapó.
Julia está perguntando por qué este tipo de... Terry Turner, who worked with the Kayapó for a long time, talked about how direction was important in the village, so that's another thing to look into when you first come to an area, to make sure you're aware of north, south, east, west, and if that's important at all or not.
An even more important part of any culture is its youth. And like any plant, they need nutrition in the form of knowledge. Well, the village has 3 teachers and only 1 book to teach all of these children. It's an understatement to say that they are undersupplied. And the village nurse is in a very similar situation, working on 20 days, off 10 days, and between 8 different villages. But the Kayapó are a strong, self-empowered warrior culture. Sometimes they wake together as a community and a chief shouts the day's agenda. The work never stops. Even pregnant Kayapó women climbed the trees when we gathered acai berries. It's not as easy as it looks.
Good. All right.
Well, it's more than I did last year.
Good,
And with a different berry called jenipapo, we were painted for the festival. The Kayapó are strong, and in the not-so-distant past, little contact was made with them. But now they seek the help of the outside world, because theirs is being destroyed. And the message continues with these words from Tiago, who may one day be chief of Alcre.
Gostaria de falar, para todos os alunos Kayapó que estudam na nossa aldeia, para não esquecer a nossa cultura. Você tem que estudar como costume do branco, a cultura do branco, mas você não pode esquecer a nossa cultura, que é por que eu falo isso? É que é para você não esquecer a nossa cultura, a nossa tradição, que é para proteger a nossa floresta, né? Daqui para o futuro, porque daqui mais tarde vai vir o nosso neto, nosso filho, para viver junto com a nossa floresta, que estão o ar para todo mundo, todo o Brasil todo. Então, para isso é o que eu falo, cada vez mais tem que vir para visitar a nossa aldeia, nosso projeto, que é para nós aprender mais algum para frente. Isso que eu falo. Meu abraço, a Catimei.
A cor desse povo, desse canto novo, e falo entender. Internacional.
Hey Laura, can you tell the camera what's happening?
Try to use language that can be used
on a family television.
We're stopped here on the side of the road somewhere between Tucumã and Xinguara, and the bus doesn't seem to be turning on.
Alerta Amazônia,
Looking around, you see what the Kayapó are up against, and it is so similar to the fate indigenous people suffer today in North America. But how many people will it take to help them?
What I've learned is that a single person can make a difference. It was almost unimaginable that I could play a role in influencing the conservation of 11 million hectares of rainforest in the southeastern Amazon of Brazil. But I know that I have, and certainly my colleagues that now work with me with the Kayapó, I know we're making a difference.
So, when you ask me how my trip was to Brazil, I cannot begin to describe how it changed my life. Changed it to something it always was. And I can only describe that feeling with one word, the Kayapó word, Meikumrex. In fact, I'd say it more like, Meikumrex.